Right now, right now. 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 Oh, I got a real good feeling.
We try to bring you high-quality educational and informational content every single day. Why do you think the price is having such an anemic time? The news story of the hour. Jump onto the chart. Is this the beginning of a massive financial unraveling? We got to add a little addendum to the show map today. So we start here on the daily. Now, we've been looking at the RSI on Bitcoin's daily chart for the last several days. It always has been, but it's been increasing over the last 50 years since the government has been. Hey guys, what's going on? Jeb here, and welcome back to Coffee and Crypto Live. This is your weekdaily morning show where we bring you the latest in everything Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. And in today's episode, we are going to be talking about how none other than Elon Musk himself has finally endorsed Bitcoin. That's right. About 5 years ago, Elon Musk had a endorsement of Bitcoin with Tesla buying $1.5 billion worth of Bitcoin, but he very quickly chickened out and stopped being pro-Bitcoin as much as he was. But over the last 24 hours, he has replied to a tweet that asked him whether or not his new America Party would be endorsing Bitcoin. And he responded, and I quote, "Fiat is hopeless, so yes." That is the endorsement that we were looking for. Elon Musk, the $400 billion man, is officially pro-Bitcoin, and we will likely be seeing some developments coming out of the America Party, out of X, and out of Tesla very soon. Today, we're going to be breaking down exactly what this means for cryptocurrency markets, and we're going to be tying that into the broader narrative about how Bitcoin is about to break all the way through all-time high at $112,000 and how a new all-time high upwards of $125,000 per Bitcoin is right around the corner. Hope you're looking forward to today's stream. We've got a lot of content to cover, so let's start by giving a warm welcome to everybody who is in chat. Really appreciate you all being here. Joe Bollier is in chat. Daniel J is in chat. Blasnik is in chat. Schmedley B, Micah Mann, Jeremy Shorter, Brandon Sandoval, Philly Skills 1428, Kryptoni, William Tur is in chat. Christopher Ryans, Micah Mann, Daniel H. Really appreciate all of you guys being here. Very excited to be here as well. Let's do this. Bitcoin is currently trading at $108,320, and the price action on Bitcoin is extremely encouraging right now. Over the last several days, we have seen Bitcoin build a major inverse head and shoulders pattern right here. We have seen Bitcoin break through new high after new high over and over. We broke through local resistance that was sitting right here at about 108,000. 108,000 was a pretty important level of resistance that Bitcoin had to contend with. We broke through that with confidence last Wednesday on the 2nd of July, all the way up to $110,500. We more or less double topped at our second highest high in the history of Bitcoin that we set here on the 9th of June at 110,600. However, it's important to notice, let's just go ahead and get a clean chart here. It's important to notice that after Bitcoin hit that high, we didn't crash immediately by $8,000 like we did last time. No, instead, Bitcoin dropped $3,000, 3/8 as far, and we went back and reconfirmed a uptrending level of support that Bitcoin has found right here. That's probably not going to hold completely. It's probably not going to completely hold, but we will likely hold something kind of like this. We did not drop as far as we did the last time we hit 110.6. Instead, we had a bounce right back up to 109.7. Bitcoin is showing significantly more strength right now than it was a little over a month ago, and that is extremely encouraging. There are a number of reasons why I believe that Bitcoin is about to break through all-time high, rally up to $125,000 and beyond. And I'm going to be breaking those down in three major categories today. Number one, we're going to be talking about this new development from Elon Musk, the implications thereof, and kind of breaking down what that means for the rest of this bull market. Are we going to have a super cycle? Are we not? We'll talk about that. Number two, we're going to look at the technical landscape and see where we think Bitcoin is going based on these technicals that we are currently watching. And three, we're going to look for opportunities to trade and invest this coming market. We are obviously heavily invested in Bitcoin. We have more Bitcoin than we've ever had. We love acquiring Bitcoin. We've stacked so much Bitcoin lately, and we're also in some trades. And I'm going to break down what those look like as well. So let's get started. Oh, and by the way, we're also going to talk a little bit about an altcoin. I'm going to let you guys pick which one because we're going to try and make sure we're covering more altcoins. I heard that feedback. You guys want more alts? We're going to do it. While we are going through our content, if you would like, you are more than welcome to tell us in chat what altcoin you would like for me to do some technical analysis on. Let's keep it in the top, let's say top 50. Let's keep it to the top 50 or so that a lot of people will find it interesting. First thing we need to cover is this. Elon Musk posted yesterday, the America Party is the solution. The background context on this is that Elon Musk was left-wing. He more or less got kicked out of the left-wing because that's what the left-wing does. If you do not play identity politics perfectly, then you get excommunicated from the cult, is basically the way that goes. Then he joined the right-wing. And Trump didn't exactly do the same thing, but kind of the same thing. They definitely did not get along very well. Elon Musk in general became very disenfranchised with the overall both parties in the American political system because he feels that neither one of them is adequately equipped to solve the issue of rampant inflation. And he correctly identifies that the overwhelming and rapid debasement of the United States dollar is one of the most existential crises that America faces right now. Neither party is doing anything about it. The big, beautiful bill has been passed now. It's going on to Donald Trump's desk to be signed. It's going to add a great deal to the inflation by expanding a lot of different government programs than what the left would expand, but it is an expansionist bill, as is almost everything that gets pushed through Congress. This will inevitably lead to the debasement and eventual destruction of the United States dollar and the entire American experiment as we see it existing today. So Elon Musk, feeling hopeless about both parties, tried the left, didn't work, tried the right, didn't work, feels that he needs to start his own party, the America Party. They've filed with the FEC, so it is becoming an official political party. So someone asked him, Elon, will America Party embrace Bitcoin? And Elon Musk said, and we quote, fiat is hopeless, so yes. The reason that this is so significant is because Elon excuse me, Elon is known for changing the way that we do things. He's known for revolutionizing industries. There are two major ways that you can build a company and succeed. Either one, you can come along and you can make an incremental improvement. So, for example, you can have you can come along and you can develop an electric vehicle. And an electric vehicle, this electric vehicle is faster than the others. It's stronger than the others, right? You've got all these different copycats of Tesla, right? You've got Rivian, you've got all these other companies that see, hey, Elon Musk started the whole electric vehicle revolution, more or less, kind of got it off the ground. We're going to make an incremental improvement. We're a little faster. We're a little better. We're a little this. That's the first way you can build a company, is you can make an incremental improvement that's big enough for people to care enough to switch and to break the network effect. The second way that you can start a company is you can completely revolutionize the entire space. This is what Henry Ford did when he revolutionized overland travel. Instead of using horse-drawn carriages, he used modern mass production techniques, especially specifically the moving assembly line, to revolutionize the creation of automobiles. He didn't invent the automobile. The Mercedes Benz cars was one of the first gas-powered and actually at the time they were electric-powered, but one of the first horseless carriages, right? He took mass manufacturing to revolutionize that industry. So those are the two big ways you can do something in business. Elon Musk is very well known for revolutionizing things, in the sense of we're just going to throw the chessboard in the sky and we're going to start over. And we're going to use what we know, but we're pretty much going to go back to the drawing board. He did that with PayPal, with internet payments. He did that with Tesla, with electric cars. He's done that with X, taking what Twitter was and turning it into a free speech platform and getting rid of all the censorship and clearing house and everything. And he is very well known for doing that in a lot of other areas, with AI, with tunnel boring, etc. SpaceX, obviously, we can't forget SpaceX. And so when you take the richest person on planet Earth, who's worth $400 billion, who is a modern day genius, like him or not, I mean, he's revolutionized like a half dozen industries. We're not incremental improvements, revolutionized, completely changed the way that they operate. You can't deny that. This is simple facts, right? We were not able to launch a rocket and recover 90% of the mass and bring down launch costs by 50x until he came along, right? This guy's very intelligent. So he recognizes the problem, acutely recognizes the problem over the last 2 years. Fiat is hopeless. That's what he said. It's true. Fiat is hopeless. And he is known for revolutionizing industries. What industry do you know of that is revolutionary and that believes that fiat is hopeless? Wow, Bitcoin? Really? You guessed that? After I teed it up for you that well? Yes, exactly. So why is this so important? The reason that this is so important is because, as we have predicted for a long time, Elon Musk is going to become a very, very, very large fan of Bitcoin. It's obvious. In fact, I don't know if you saw, but about a month and a half ago, I even pinned it to my Twitter for a while. I posted that Elon Musk is going to, at some point in the next 18 months or so, launch his own Bitcoin treasury company. And he is going to become one of the most influential Bitcoin maxis in the world. Right up there with strategy, right up there with Donald Trump. You're going to see him become extremely bullish on Bitcoin. I can't find the tweet right now, but it's there. He is going to either start a Bitcoin treasury company, or he's going to use one of his current companies, or maybe the America Party, to start buying Bitcoin and embrace Bitcoin. He is going to become one of the biggest advocates for Bitcoin. It's almost a foregone conclusion. Why does this matter? The reason this matters brings us into our second point, which is that I firmly believe that Bitcoin is about to break through all-time high. And after we read a little bit of chat and interact with you guys a little bit, we're going to dive right on into that. So let's do it. Really appreciate you all for being here. We're going to go ahead and read some chat. Let's see. Stymie Snurdly said, Elon's correct. Excuse me. Elon's correct in pointing out that a one-party system that it's a one-party system that consistently increases spending. He's absolutely right. It is a more or less a one-party system that consistently increases spending, and it's going to destroy America. It's going to be the end of the American experiment. I'm 24. I remember being 5, 6, 7 years old, and my dad being like, the debt's going up, and the debt's going up. He's been watching this for 20 years. The guy's been watching it for 20 years. Heck, he's been talking to me about it for 20 years. I'm only 24. He's been talking about it for 40 years. The debt is a huge issue. It's a huge issue. It is one of, if not the single most important pressing issues that the American government should be doing something about right now, and they're doing nothing about it. And that's where, honestly, if Elon Musk was native born, as far as born in the United States of America and was able to run for president, he'd probably run and he'd probably win on that one issue, that spending has to be dealt with. Both sides talk a great deal about the silent majority. The silent majority of America care about government spending because they realize that it's causing inflation. It's becoming a mass understood dilemma. And Trump and team can either get on board or not get reelected. Fix it or you're out, is what the American people are going to be saying to the Trump administration. Fix the spending, do something about the rampant debt, do something about the debasement of the United States dollar, which on the Dixie has had its worst half one since 1973. We're going to look at that in a minute. Do something about it or get out. That's what's coming. All right? And Trump and Elon realizes that. As far as the debate around spending goes, Elon's going to win that debate because he's right. You don't get to spend more than you bring in and do that forever. You lose. It's that simple. All right. Let's see. Let's see what else. Jeb, there's much push towards an XRP and team as the exponential growth assets. These are those teaming up with banks. Yes, your thoughts on XRP versus Bitcoin in the saga. I think that XRP has a good future ahead of it. Excuse me. It is a very... XRP has a lot going for it. There are also some things that are going against it. The main thing that XRP has going for it is that it has a ridiculous amount of transactional throughput. It has a ton of integrations. It has a lot of adoption from the banking sector. I don't know whether or not you're going to see XRP take over Bitcoin. In fact, I would go out on a limb and say that it's almost certainly not going to. That being said, XRP is still less than a tenth the value of Bitcoin, and so that means that it can theoretically outpace Bitcoin in the same way that Bitcoin is able to outpace the United States stock market because it is a smaller asset than the United States stock market. So is XRP a bad investment? No, not at all. And we hold some XRP, and we're actually doing pretty well on that investment right now. And I do think it's going to do well for the sake of the fact that its new baseline support is no longer down here. Oh, we got to find a certain chart that's going to actually have the entire charted history. Its baseline of support, as you can see here, is more or less up here around $2 instead of trading down here around 40 to 50 cents. So that's a very good sign. If you were holding XRP back here, you basically just made a bunch of money all at once, and then that's just that. So I do think that XRP has a bright future ahead of it, but it is going to take a little bit of time before whenever you buy anything other than Bitcoin, you're going out on a limb, because I personally believe that Bitcoin is the base rate. Most people treat the United States stock market and some of the big indexes like the DJI or the Russell 2000 or the SPY as the base rate. I treat Bitcoin as the base rate. If you can't beat it, buy it. That's what the base rate is. If you can't beat it, buy it. If you can't beat Bitcoin, then just buy Bitcoin. It's really that simple. You could possibly beat Bitcoin and XRP, but that's a big limb to go out on, in my opinion. Not saying you shouldn't. We own some XRP. We own more Bitcoin. All right, let's read a little bit more chat here, and then we're going to keep it moving. Let's see. XRP is the one, bro. I like XRP. I'm not against it, and there's a lot of money to be made trading XRP as well. Everyone forgetting the entire ethos of Bitcoin, investing in all these poop coins. Yep. Crazy spending helps Bitcoin, so spend away. Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So there's a risk when you buy anything other than Bitcoin, is what I'm going to say. I believe personally, and call me a maxi if you want. I wouldn't say I'm a maxi. I do hold some altcoins, and I'm happy about that. And I do hold some U.S. stocks, and I'm happy about that. But I believe that Bitcoin is the base rate, so if you can't beat it, buy it. I hold U.S. stocks because it beats Bitcoin in the sense that it's theoretically, at least one argument would say, this lower risk. I hold some altcoins because of the idea that theoretically they can outpace Bitcoin. But I hold mostly Bitcoin because it's at the intersection of low risk and high returns. I hold some altcoins because it's higher risk, higher reward. I hold some stocks because it's lower risk, lower reward. But I hold mostly Bitcoin because it's right in the middle. It is the base rate. Bitcoin is the base rate. Quote me on it. Go say it. Go tell all your friends. Bitcoin is the base rate. The base rate is, if you can't beat it, buy it. Capiche? Awesome. All right. So let's talk a little bit about why Bitcoin is about to break through all-time high. A lot to unpack here. We're about to dig into some technical analysis. If you are ready to dig into some TA, drop a 1 in chat. Very excited about the technical analysis that we have coming up. Also, stay tuned because we have a new sponsor, a new company that we're working with that I'm very excited to tell you about. Cannot wait to share them with you. And now's going to be the perfect time to get acquainted with this company because you're going to need them over the next couple of weeks as things start getting absolutely crazy. So stay tuned. We're going to drink a little bit of water and then we're going to get into this. All right. Let's do this. All right. So over the last year, you know how I like to do it. I like to zoom out. Over the last 2-3 years, Bitcoin has looked like this. Jeb, where are you going with this? I'm going right here. What does this look like to you? Let's just use some common freaking sense for a second. What does this look like to you? What does it look like? I mean, seriously. What does it look like? Ignore the blinking line there. What does that look like? Maybe we should put the blinking line there. It'll give away a hint about what's going to happen. What does this look like? Where does this look like we're going? Let me zoom in a little bit. What does this look like? What does it look like is about to happen here? Let's get that blinking line out of there. Right? What do you see? You see, that looks like winning. Bingo. Couldn't have said it better. I'll try, but I can't. This looks like Verhoofdfluffen's plateau. I disagree. This looks like plateau. We got up there, and within 2 months, we had dropped 35, 40%. That's what plateau looks like to me. I don't think it looks like plateau. This, to me, looks a little bit like this. Rally, drop, rally, drop, rally, breakout. This, to me, looks a little bit like this. Rally, drop, rally, drop, rally, drop, rally, breakout. This looks to me like the next phase of the rally. It looks to me, specifically, referring back to the Cryptocurrency Technical Analysis Academy, It looks like one of the largest ascending triangle patterns in the history of Bitcoin. It looks like one of the single largest examples of an ascending triangle pattern, which is nothing else other than a flat level of resistance and an uptrending level of support. Flat resistance, higher lows, I'm sorry. That's all it looks like. That's all it looks like. It looks like that on all the charts. We're on log chart, look at the linear chart. It's the same thing. It looks exactly the same. It looks like equivalent highs, higher lows. Let's dig into this. We're going to start with the Bitcoin analysis, then we're going to jump on to some other analysis. As far as Bitcoin is concerned, over the last several months, a number of things have happened. Number one, Bitcoin has set this is the last couple of years, 3 higher lows. A low here at 25, a low here at 50, and then a low here at 75. We've added $25,000 to the low every time that we've had a low. We've had a low at 25. We've had a low at 50. We've had a low at 75. What's next? A low at 100. That's what makes sense next, is a low at 100. Well, what did we just see? We saw Bitcoin rallied up to 112, drop back, and had a low at 100. What did Bitcoin do when it hit 100? It bounced powerfully off of the 20 weekly exponential moving average. The 20 weekly exponential moving average is about to cross above $100,000 in just the next couple of weeks. We have a bullish engulfing candlestick formation right here. We also have, if you come down to the daily chart, the Bollinger Bands constricting. Very narrow Bollinger Bands. I think you'll see this the best on the 3 daily chart. Very narrow Bollinger Bands. Very low volatility. Who remembers what we've talked about for, I don't know, almost a decade here? Low volatility indicates that high volatility is coming, typically in the same direction that the volatility went into that period of low volatility. In other words, when you see low volatility on the Bollinger Bands, it essentially predicts that we are going to see a continuation of the aforementioned trend. The previous trend that we saw moving into this period of low volatility was upwards. This is basically another way of stating that we are looking at a bull flag. It's basically another way of stating that statistically, we're most likely looking at a breakout here. The technicals are screaming it. Every time frame is looking the same way. RSI, we had a bullish divergence over here in March and April when we bottomed. We have a break above the 14 3-daily interval moving average here on the Bollinger Bands. We're about to see a bullish cross on 3-daily chart. When you look at the daily chart, see the same thing. We have a bullish cross on MACD that's currently building. RSI is ramping up rapidly. The 14 interval moving average on the RSI is sitting pretty, moving aggressively to the upside. If you look on the weekly chart, you're seeing similar things. Aggressive bullishness on the MACD. You're seeing bullishness here on the RSI. Not only that, if we look at the daily chart, what you're going to see are a number of inverse head and shoulders patterns. You can see it from outer space the last year. Right here, massive inverse head and shoulders pattern. You know what we were doing back here? We're building a massive cup and handle formation. It's basically what we were doing. Big cup and handle formation. Big like cup formation right here, right? When you come back earlier to this period, it was just a bull flag, right? You're building a major inverse head and shoulders pattern. And not only that, if you come onto a different chart, look down here on the shorter term time frame. What are you doing on the shorter term time frame? You're building an inverse head and shoulders pattern right here. In fact, you're building like a nested inverse head and shoulders pattern down on the hourly chart. It's right here. Here's the inverse head and shoulders pattern. And then you have the neckline right here at 110,600. So let's just get this straight. Let's go ahead and draw it. Let's see, where is it? I think it's right here. You have your inverse head and shoulders pattern being drawn just like this. You could argue about whether or not the neckline is here at 108.8 or 110.6, but either way, it doesn't matter that much. The point is that Bitcoin is pointing upwards. You have a very obvious price target here that you could draw aggressively like this towards 125. if you were to use 110.6 as the neckline, or you could draw more conservatively with a breakout here like this with a price target of 122. So it doesn't really matter how exactly you draw the inverse head and shoulders pattern. It's there. Anywhere you look, you're finding bullish technicals. Anywhere and everywhere. On the daily chart, you see that other than this fear of Iran, war between Iran and Israel, Bitcoin has been consistently, time after time after time, setting higher lows. We would have likely bottomed out around $103,000 if not for the conflict that was going on with Iran and Israel. Then we would have continued to bottom here, and then you just push on ever higher up towards 110. Bitcoin is becoming far more comfortable above $100,000. We fell below, and I cannot stress this enough, we fell below $100,000 for a dozen hours. We sat below below $100,000 on Bitcoin for like 10 hours. That was it. 8 hours. And we dropped down here for another one. So 9 hours in total. In the last 2 months, Bitcoin has sat beneath beneath $100,000 for 9 hours. You understand that, right? Bitcoin, for all of its history, has traded between big evens. For almost the entire time that I've been here, Bitcoin has traded between 10,000 and 100,000. I remember when Bitcoin hit 10,000 for the first time. I was watching it. I was here. I remember when Bitcoin hit 5,000 for the first time and 20,000 for the first time. I remember when it hit 50,000 for the first time. Bitcoin doesn't just go through 4-year halving cycle epochs. It also goes through decimal epochs. Bitcoin spent a number of years between $100 and $1,000. It spent a number of years between $1,000 and $10,000. Then it spent most of my career between $10,000 and $100,000. And now Bitcoin is meeting the next epoch, which is the 7-figure epoch, between $100,000 and $110,000. And one of the best things about the way that Bitcoin is handling this is that we are not just taking off to the moon. We're sitting right here on top of $100,000 for months to rub it in the bear's face and say, haha, we're not going below 100,000. Shoring up the support, building visible range volume profile support. There's so much VRVP support here between 90 and 110,000 because we've sat here for the better part of a year. If you look at the bull market so far, believe it or not, there's 3 major areas of support. There's this area between 25 and 30. There's this area between 60 and 72. And then there's this area between 90 and 120. If we go into a bear market, we might see Bitcoin have a huge amount of support between 90 and 100, and then maybe fall back down to 60 to 50 and call that a day. And that's the end of the bear market. We might even end the bear market at 100,000 because we go up to 250 and we drop back down 66%. We drop down to 100. Who knows? As we're going to talk about in a minute, it's also possible that we never see a bear market again and we're going into a super cycle. Everybody was so convinced that we're going into a super cycle last time and it didn't happen. This time, everybody's convinced we're not going to. Maybe that means it's going to happen. It's possible. Okay, so that's Bitcoin. Bitcoin is showing so much strength, it's not even funny. The fact that the right shoulder of this inverse head and shoulders pattern is higher than the left shoulder also should tell you something. It should tell you that Bitcoin is vastly more comfortable above 100K than it was back here. Why? Because people are buying Bitcoin more than they ever have, and people are accepting Bitcoin as a 6-figure asset. People are used to saying 108K, 105K, 102K, 112K. The idea of saying a 98K Bitcoin is becoming so strange that you just can't do anything else other than go and buy some if it drops back down there. Within a couple of minutes, within about an hour or so of Bitcoin dropping below 100, I was buying. I bought a bunch of Bitcoin on this little drop. I caught the bottom perfectly on this one. I normally don't, but I did, and a lot of people did. A lot of people that normally don't catch the bottom perfectly caught the bottom perfectly here. You know why? Because they said a sub 100K Bitcoin, that's a freaking deal. We're going to $1 million, baby. We're going to $1 million, baby. If it drops below 100, I'm going to buy that. That's what I did. It's what you did. You know you did. Tell me if you did. Drop a 2 in chat if you bought Bitcoin on that dip. Below 100. You saw, oh, Bitcoin's going below 100? That's just the war. I'm buying. That's what I did. Why else is Bitcoin going to break through 112, though? Why else? Here's why. Here's why. Because it's not just about Elon. becoming pro-Bitcoin. It's not just about Bitcoin and its fundamentals. It's also about the dollar. The dollar is the strongest currency in the world, bar none. Nothing comes close. And the dollar is sucking right now. Over the last year, sorry, not last year, over the course of this year, you know, Elon endorsed Bitcoin a long time ago, right? Yes, we were making videos about it every day back in 2020 and 2021 when Tesla bought $1.5 billion worth of Bitcoin. Then we also made content about when they stopped endorsing it and they stopped accepting it as payments. So yes, we remember when Elon Musk endorsed Bitcoin the first time. And so I want to see him actually prove it this time. And we got to trust him a little bit. He's got to build our trust a little bit. Talking about Dixie, though, for a second. Dollar currency index has dropped 12% over the course of this year. 12%. 12%. This is the single worst H1, half one to the year, that the dollar has seen since 1973. This is the worst performance in the first half of a year that we've seen from the dollar in a half of a century. It's that bad. And it wasn't even that close. I mean, it was all, we almost were worse than that. The dollar is not doing well right now. And we see that in the US rates, like the United States 30-year rate. The United States 30-year rate here is going through a major bounce off of 0%, off of 0.7%. The US 30-year rate is climbing aggressively. The United States government doesn't want to do 30-year bonds right now because they issue 30-year bonds right now because it's at 5%. But the issue is in 10 years, it might be at 10%. So they're being forced to eat 5% interest on government bonds that otherwise they wouldn't normally take. The bond rate is climbing because people don't trust the dollar. People don't trust the dollar because the United States debt is rallying. The USC BBS is falling off, but that's going to turn around soon. You know that as soon as Jerome Powell gets some kind of political ability to start printing money again, he's going to do so. So we talked about the technical reasons why Bitcoin's about to break through 112. Let's talk about the fundamental reasons. The dollar is sucking right now. It's really not doing well. The dollar is not being able to perform very well right now for a number of reasons. A lot of this is fear around the tariffs. A lot of this is fear around a global conflict. A lot of this is the inflation. Many people voted for Trump hoping that he was going to do something about spending. Spending is no more under control under Donald Trump than it was under Biden, than it was under Trump's first term, under Bush, or under Obama. It's becoming very clear, especially in this presidency, that it doesn't matter who you vote for. The president is not going to do anything to fix the debt. Doge came in, saved a bunch of money, didn't do anywhere near enough to pay off the debt. Trump doesn't seem to really think that it's his problem, just to be quite honest with you. For a while, it seemed like he was very serious about it, and we were happy about that. He doesn't seem to really be championing that issue anymore, either because he doesn't understand it and how existential of a threat it is, or because he doesn't see that it matters to his base, although it does. The debasement of the United States dollar is going to be this century's climactic event that will completely upend geopolitics. The entire balance of power the world over is going to be completely realigned this century, if the United States dollar is not corrected. And the issue is it's not going to, because we have absolutely no historical precedent to show that the United States is going to do anything about the debt, which is going to continue to drive rates up, which is going to continue to drive inflation up. We're also, at the same time, because of good, strong jobs reports, going to see a rate cut on from the Federal Reserve side sometime in the next 3 months. At either the next meeting or the meeting thereafter, we're going to most likely see a rate cut, which in the short term will be great for the economy and will be great for Bitcoin. But in the long run, it's going to be bad for the dollar. And it's also, by the way, going to be bad. Not bad. It's actually in the long run going to be good for Bitcoin because it's going to end up debasing the dollar even more. And so we're moving into this phase where the dollar has left the slow burn and it's starting to heat up. It's starting to get worse rapidly. The debasement of the United States dollar is getting worse very quickly. You didn't hardly notice it during the 2000s and during the 2010s. And then COVID happened, and you've noticed it a lot in the last 5 years. How much your money does not get you anymore. We were on vacation last week. You guys were like, where were you, Jeb? I should have told you where I was going. I'm sorry. We were on vacation. We went out of town. We're fine. I bought my kids some bug juice. Who's ever bought your kids or grandkids, or do you remember bug juice? Who remembers bug juice, right? I haven't seen this stuff in 20 years. We stopped at a gas station. I was like, oh man, they got bug juice. It was $1.49. I remember when I was a kid, that was 79 cents. This is my point. You didn't notice it in the 2000s. Now it's growing way faster. That scares people. People used to be okay with being the frog in the boiling water and losing 2% of their value every year in their savings account because they were making 4 or 5% in their money market. So they didn't really care. It's just a tax that they chose to pay. At this point, though, they're not paying 2% a year in inflation. They're paying 5, 10, 15, 20%, depending on the area that you're talking about. Car insurance, health insurance, you're talking 10, 15% a year inflation. This is scaring people. And they should be scared because it is the beginning of the end of the American empire. We just celebrated 249 years. Next year at 250, we're going to realize that if we want another 250, we've got to do something about this. And there's only one answer right now, and that's Bitcoin. As I've told you before, you get on the boat or you get left behind. The ship is sinking. You either get on the life raft or you die. If you stay with the fiat system, you will get left behind. The future is Bitcoin, the future is hard money, and the future is decentralized finance. And if you don't get with the times, you will get left behind. And I don't want that for you. People everywhere are waking up to that. The spending is never going to get under control. The debt is never going, just like you said in chat for Hoofty Floofin, the debt is not payable at this point. How the hell do you pay back $37 trillion worth of debt? Who in their right mind is buying a 30-year bond right now and getting only 5%? Who would do that? Who is foolish enough to buy a 30-year bond thinking that the government is going to pay you 5% a year? I would not buy a 30-year bond unless you paid me 9 or 10% a year. Because I want to get my money out in 10 years. Because I don't know whether it's going to be paid in 10, 15 years. I don't know that the Treasury is not going to default in 10 to 15 years with the way things are going. You couldn't pay me enough to buy bonds at 5%, 30-year bonds. Maybe a 1-year bond. But again, why? I cannot stress this enough. There are hundreds of trillions of dollars in bonds the world over, and they all need to find a new home because they're all untrustworthy, because they're all less trustworthy than the United States bond market, and the United States bond market is exploding. Nobody trusts bonds. I cannot stress to you enough how serious it is that the 60-40 split, 60% stocks, 40% bonds, you got a diversified, safe portfolio, is dead. It's done for. And registered investment advisors get it. Financial advisors get it. They realize that it's a dumb pitch because it doesn't make any sense. Oh, we're going to put 60% of our money in the U.S. stock market. Fine. I'm not necessarily against stocks, but we're going to put 40% of our money in bonds, and I can't even guarantee to you anymore whether or not the United States is going to pay them back or not. Because they've got to issue more bonds to pay the ones that are coming due. I can't guarantee to you that they're going to pay the credit card back because they got to borrow on another credit card to pay back this credit card. Why would you buy a bond? Let me give you some financial advice. If you own U.S. bonds, sell them. Every one of them. Pay the penalty. Get out of them. They're a stupid thing to buy. They're an enormously dumb thing to buy. Sell them. Put the money just about anywhere else. They're incredibly stupid. Terrible product. Terrible product. There is no tens of trillions of dollar product in the world that's that bad of a product than U.S. Treasury bonds. They're a terrible purchase. Don't buy them. If you have bonds, get rid of them. Put them anywhere else. Put them in a freaking high yield savings account. Anywhere else other than bonds. The entire system is imploding on itself in slow motion right now, and it's going to get faster and faster and faster and faster and faster and faster and faster as time goes on. And it's not going to slow down anytime soon. Mark my words, write them down. 10 years from now, you will be seeing a 10% US 30-year Treasury bond. Because people won't buy them unless you pay them 10% a year. The U.S. government in 10 years, in 2035, will not be paying $1.2 trillion a year in interest. It will be paying $4 trillion a year in interest. Write it down and quote me. In 2035, the United States government will be paying between $3 and $4 trillion a year in interest on the debt, financing the debt. It will be, and it already basically is, the single largest budgetary line item that Congress has to deal with, is financing this enormous amount of debt so that the Treasury doesn't default. And if the Treasury defaults, then the dollar collapses instantaneously, which is a civilization-ending event. The Treasury wouldn't do that. Instead, they would just print into oblivion, which instead of causing a civilization-ending event in a moment because they just one day you wake up and they defaulted, what they would instead do is they'd hyperinflate the currency, and instead of it being a civilization-ending event in 1 minute, it would take place over 3 to 5 years as they debase the living hell out of the currency and the supply goes parabolic. Unless you get somebody in office who understands that Bitcoin is the only way out of this, and Trump acted like he understood this, but where the hell is the Bitcoin? If you understand this, Trump, then why haven't we bought Bitcoin yet? What's taking so long? I mean, God, Trump moves quick on stuff, guys. We had these floods in Texas. You know what happened? They said, Trump called him and said, what do you need? It's yours. They said, we need helicopters. We need military. We need Red Cross. We need medics. We need all this. An hour later, it's on the way. This dude moves fast when he wants to. He's very good at moving quick and cutting red tape. He says, I'm in charge. Get the hell out of my way. We're going to go fix this. He can do it. Where's the Bitcoin? I don't trust at this point that Bitcoin is a top priority for Trump anymore. Because if it was, why are we not buying Bitcoin yet? Where is it? Results matter. Been in office for 6 months now. Where's the Bitcoin purchasing? I voted for Trump. I'm not happy about how long this is taking. It needs to happen now. The U.S. government needs to start acquiring Bitcoin at these prices, not at $250,000. Unless the United States government does something about the debt, this will be the end of America. Mark my words. Take them to the bank, which won't exist anymore. But write it down. It's going to happen. It might take 50 years, but it's coming. It's coming. Why does that matter? Here's why it matters. Because we're still on our second point. And our second point is that Bitcoin's about to break through all-time high. Why is Bitcoin about to break through all-time high? Because an exponentially ever-increasing amount of people around the world understand what I just said is true. What I just said is not some fringe belief anymore. Because of the influence of my father, I've been saying it since I was like 7 years old. But it's becoming much more apparent. Our family, I'm not kidding, my dad has been talking about the debt being an issue since the 80s. I was born in 2000. Ever since I was old enough to talk, he'd be telling me, Jeb, the U.S. debt, the U.S. debt. I remember in 8th grade, I had a teacher. I remember his name. I'm not going to say his name. I'll say Mr. A. I had Mr. A in civics class. It was in 7th grade. He asked, what is the U.S. debt? I raised my hand. I said, $16 trillion and counting. I'm 11, 12 years old. He says, no, you're wrong. It's 1 trillion. I was trying to be respectful, so I didn't correct him. The next day he came back and he's like, actually, I looked at it, Jeb, you're right. I was like, I know I'm right. It's $16 trillion. It's ridiculous. That was only 13 years ago. Now it's $36 trillion. We've added $20 trillion, $1.8 trillion a year in 13 years. I've been talking about this for over half of my life. This will be the destruction of the United States experiment if it's not dealt with. Bitcoin provides the only solution because clearly politics doesn't have a solution. Once again, I've known this for 15 years. I've known this since before I was 10, that the United States dollar was cooked. I've been calling this since I was in elementary school. Bitcoin is the solution to the debt crisis. And more people, when I was 8, 9 years old, nobody realized that this was an issue. They knew the subprime mortgages were an issue, but nobody realized that the U.S. debt was an issue. They thought, we'll just pay it back later. The future generations will take care of it, right? More and more people every day are waking up to the fact that Bitcoin is the only solution to this. And that is why Bitcoin is about to break out to 125, and then 150, and then 200, and then 300, and then 400, and then 500, and then it's going to go to 1 million. The greatest investment that you will make in your lifetime is Bitcoin. I have been saying that for almost a decade, and I have yet to be wrong. The greatest investment that you will ever make, after an investment in yourself, is an investment in Bitcoin. I love investing in myself. I love investing in my family. And I love investing in Bitcoin. Those are the things I like investing in. Bitcoin is about to go to $125,000 because of technical factors and also because of how glaringly obvious it is that the future of finance is crypto, specifically Bitcoin. And if you can't see that, then you will get Bitcoin at the price that you deserve it. I encourage you, please consider a large allocation to Bitcoin. Our third point is, what should we be doing about this? We're going to get to that in just a minute. But first, I want to give a big shout out to a new partner here on the channel. And tomorrow I'm going to have some links for you. I'm going to make this I'm going to show you a lot more stuff. But that partner would be none other than 2Bit. This is a new exchange that I'm very excited about. I got to meet some of the reps from 2Bit while we were at the Bitcoin 2025 conference. I've really been enjoying the exchange. And as I said, we just got back into town, so I'm going to get this more set up. I'm going to show you the exchange a lot more, but there are a lot of reasons why I think that you should sign up for this new exchange. This exchange is very popular in a lot of places in the world, is really growing very quickly in the United States markets. There are currently over 3.6 million registered traders on 2Bit and over 1,100 traded pairs. I'm going to have a link where you can sign up for on this afternoon video, which is coming up very soon. As soon as we're done here, I'm going to record it, and the link to sign up is going to be here. But there's a lot of different ways you can earn money on 2Bit. And one of those ways is just by basically all the sign-up bonuses. There's a lot of sign-up bonuses here. There's a $10 bonus. There's first deposit, you get $20. First trade, you get $20. Right? As you go on here, there's a lot more things, and you can earn up to $15,000 after you sign up for 2Bit by doing different things, like depositing a certain amount onto 2Bit, by doing different things, like trying some of the different products. A lot of really cool ways to generate income and make money on 2Bit while you learn about the markets. And I've been trading here quite a bit over the last few weeks, and I'm really enjoying their markets. Like I said, I got to get logged into it and show you everything. I'll work on that right now. But I love their markets. I love their user interface. Let me log in here. It's very pleasing. It's very pleasant. Let's see. I need to do that, and then that, and then that. We got to do the login stuff. I'm really enjoying their trading interface. Give me a second, sorry. Let's see. We got to do the login thing. That one, and that one, and that one. They have a different login thing. You know, every single exchange has their own little verification thing. So I had to do that. Give me 1 second. I'm going to log in here and show you everything. Really enjoying 2Bit. Really enjoying trading over there. There's a lot of great trades going on. I want to talk to you about here in just a second. Part of the reason I'm bringing this up right now is I actually want to share with you a trade that I'm in right now. And I'm not going to show it today. I'll probably show it tomorrow. But there is a very fun trade that we're in. Let's see. Yeah. And so I highly encourage you guys to check out 2Bit. If you have not, then you definitely should. Let's see. So yeah, definitely come check it out. Like I said, I'm going to have more things for you here over the next couple of days. We got to kind of there's a lot of promotional material and whatnot and links that we're going to have up for you, but I wanted to start sharing this with you today. Copy trading over here is something that's really good. I've been wanting to experiment with this. So a lot of good ways to get involved in trading. If you have not already kind of started trading and taking advantage of the different opportunities that are in the cryptocurrency markets, then this is definitely a great place to do so. You also have here, you have your leverage trading, which is very helpful. I like to use lower leverage, like around 10x, but it can be helpful when you're trying to make the most of different opportunities. So I'm going to be showing you some more trades on 2Bit, going to be kind of interacting with that exchange, showing you some of the things that I'm doing over there. So stay tuned. Very excited about that. There will be a link to sign up for 2Bit very soon. Wait before you do, because if you sign up with our link, you're going to get some pretty cool bonuses. So stay tuned for that, and looking forward to sharing with you some more content from them. Very excited to be working with the team over there. All right, let's go ahead and read some chat. And then we're going to keep on moving here. Can we stop pretending that there won't be better buying opportunities in the bear market? 108K Bitcoin is not a good buy. Even if it does go up to 125, the bear market will present more opportunity. And that's a great segue into the next thing I want to talk about, which is the possibility of a super cycle. If you don't know, a super cycle is essentially the idea that we're not going to see the 4-year halving cycle anymore. This is a very a very big debate that's going on in Bitcoin right now is whether or not we're following the M2 money supply or whether we're following the 4-year halving cycle. The M2 money supply, Bitcoin is tracking with very closely, which is basically all of the money in the world. It's about 95 to 105 trillion dollars right now. Bitcoin's been tracking with it very closely, and the reason that that's such a debate is because we have not yet discovered whether or not we're going to keep up the 4-year halving cycle. The halvings just don't matter as much as they used to. The vast majority of Bitcoin has already been mined. The block reward is already becoming very rapidly a smaller portion of the miner's income than the fees. And the transition from block rewards to fees is a transition that's already well underway. And so the halving is not going to be as important as it used to be. And so that's the first point for the super cycle. The second point for the super cycle is that after we saw the ETFs launch for gold, the spot ETFs for gold, GLD specifically, you saw gold rally for 8 years straight. That's something that we can break down for you over here. GLD, the SPDR Gold Trust, you watched gold rally almost vertical for years, like 6 to 7 years after the ETFs went online. The Bitcoin ETFs are vastly more successful than the gold ETFs by a historic margin. The success of the Bitcoin ETFs is enormous. Let me see if I can find a chart here to show this. There's all kinds of charts of it. I just gotta see if I can find one real quick. The discrepancy between how quickly Bitcoin has added. Here we go. Here's a good chart. Yeah, here we go. So this was the GLD inflows in billions. Right? See that? This was the net Bitcoin inflows. We are seeing a massive amount of inflows into the Bitcoin ETFs versus the gold ETFs. Here's some too. Here's gold ETFs versus Bitcoin ETFs. Year 1 for GLD, year 1 for Bitcoin. The first year for Bitcoin was larger than any year for gold in the first 10 years. So if that's the case, which it is, it's data, can't fight it. All you can do is accept it and figure out what to do with it. Gold went on a rally for 7 years straight. Doesn't it kind of make sense that Bitcoin might do the same thing? It might just go on a rally for 7 years straight. And if it does, it'll probably be the last major rally of Bitcoin with no bear market. So is there a risk in throwing out the narrative of the 4-year halving cycle? Absolutely there's a risk. Should we throw out the narrative of the 4-year halving cycle? Not yet. Because the 4-year halving cycle still gives us another 6 months or so of bull market. The 4-year halving cycle would have Bitcoin finish its bull market cycle in about November. So it's not a good idea to throw out the 4-year halving cycle yet. 12, 18 months from now might be time to throw out the Bitcoin halving cycle theory. For now, it's too early. I'm not saying that we're going into a super cycle. What I am saying is that it is now more likely than ever that we will. Which is why I've been buying here. I've been buying at 108. I've been buying at 109. I don't mind buying the top. You know why? Because we might go into a bear market. You know what I'll do? I'll buy more. With what cash? I'll make some money and I'll buy some. That's what I'll do. I know how to make money during bear markets. Do you? Well, yeah, what, you want to hold on to your dollars for the next 2 years hoping you get the bear market bottom while your dollar loses 20% of its value? For a bear market that might not happen? For a bear market that might be 50, 60% deep instead of 77? Hey, don't get me wrong. I am assuming in all of the things that I do financially, I assume a 70% drawdown on Bitcoin. All of my math, I factor in a 50% revenue reduction and a 70% drawdown on Bitcoin's value when I calculate what to do with our net worth. Moving around hundreds of thousands of dollars, I calculate for those two things. Number one, what happens if we lose half of our revenue? Not profit, half of our revenue. Number two, what happens if Bitcoin loses 70% of its value? I, at all times, want to be prepared for both of those possibilities because they can both happen. At any given moment, you guys can get bored of the products we're selling. Quit buying them. At any given moment. At any given moment, we could go into a bear market and Bitcoin could drop 70%. Could happen anytime. I'm not saying a bear market won't happen. I'm not going to be dumb enough to say for an absolute certain fact that the super cycle is happening. What I am saying, however, is it is becoming more likely. And that leads me into my third and final point for this stream, which is what we should be doing right now. What am I doing right now? I'm not so much going to tell you what you should be doing right now. I'm just telling you what I'm going to do right now. What we're doing right now is I'm buying. Do I wish I'd have bought more at 30? Yeah. Do I wish I could buy more here? Yeah. Will I wish that forever? Oh, yeah. I don't calculate. Here's the difference. Here's the difference between how I think and how a lot of people think. A lot of people think I could get a better entry. And what they're doing is in their mind, they're shorting Bitcoin. They're betting on Bitcoin going down, which historically is a dumb bet. I don't bet on Bitcoin going down. I bet on Bitcoin going up. I don't think, oh man, I could buy in at 50. I think, oh man, it could be worth 1.5 million. Because I bet on Bitcoin. Because I'm long Bitcoin. When you say, oh, but a bear market's going to come and I'm going to get a much better entry, you're probably right. But you're still shorting Bitcoin in your mind, and that's generally not a good idea. Because, my friends, you could have bought the very tip top. You could have been the exit liquidity of the last cycle, and you would still be better off than somebody who is waiting for $10,000 to enter on Bitcoin, and they didn't get it at 15 because they never entered at all. You could have been last cycle's exit liquidity and beaten the S&P 500. And this cycle's not over. You're up 60% in the last 4 years if you bought the exact top. So who cares if you buy the top? Buy the frickin' top if you want to. Just hold it for 10 years. It takes mad skill to buy the bottom. It takes no skill at all to buy early. It takes no skill at all to buy it today instead of waiting 6 months. If you have the money. None. It takes no skill at all. Before you try and figure out how to kick a 50-yard field goal, figure out how to run a mile. Get the basics right. I'm not saying don't trade. Go for it. Go trade. I love trading. I love it when you guys trade. Get the basics right. Buy some freaking Bitcoin. Oh, but Jeb, I don't want to buy it at 108. It could go down to 60. It sure could. Or maybe it never does again. Oh, but Jeb, I don't want to buy it at 108. Maybe it's going to go down to 75. It could. And maybe you won't buy there either because you think it's going to go down to 50. Here's how I think. I don't think that way. I don't give a rat's rip whether or not it's in profit in the short term. Here's what I think. I think in 10 years, Bitcoin's going to be worth $1 million. If in 10 years, Bitcoin's going to be worth $1 million, and right now it's worth 108,000, that's what I would call a pretty freaking good return. If I think in 15 years, Bitcoin's going to be worth $2 to $5 million, in 2040, it's going to be worth $2 to $5 million, and right now it's 108, I'll take a 20 to 50x in 15 years. Thank you very much. Don't mind if I do. Don't mind if I do. Don't mind if I do. And you know what? If a new bottom shows up, fine by me. I'll take a better entry. Thank you very much. Bitcoin will be at $5 million in 2045, 20 years from now. Bitcoin drops down to 50K. I think I'll take 100x. Thank you very much. Don't mind if I do. Sounds good to me. It's really not that complicated. Make some money. Invest in Bitcoin. Now, trades. I told you we're going to talk trades too. Here's my trade. Right now, I'm dumping money into a long trade with a liquidation below 100. I'm doing this with less than 1% of my portfolio because I'm not even going to use a stop loss on this because I don't freaking care. I'm putting some money, not a bunch, not a ton of money that's going to hurt if I lose it, but I'm taking a risky bet. Normally, I'd tell you never to go into a trade without a stop loss. This time, I'm like, screw it. I'm just dumping cash into a long trade here between 108 and 109. Liquidations down here at it's about 10x, so like right here below 100K. Expecting that we're probably going to go to 125. And I'm going to make like 150%, 150, 200% on the money. That's my trade. It's going to be totally real with you. That's our trade right now. Just really simple. Not complicated. I am betting that Bitcoin is not going to go below $98,000 again anytime soon. And it's probably going to go up to like 125. Very simple trade. It's risky, so I'm not putting a ton of cash into it. But if it does what I think it's going to do, then it's going to perform very well. That's my bet. That's my trade. You do what you want. You can also say, hey, I'm going to play it a little more safe, and I'm going to have a 2.5% stop loss here, down at 106, 105. You could do that. Nothing wrong with that. You could call this uptrend here, for example, and I'll be showing you guys this trade. You can call this uptrend right here kind of your where you would put your stop loss. Maybe an uptrend like this. Okay, if it goes down to 104, I'm out. Whatever. But I think it's so obvious that Bitcoin's about to rip that right now I'm in a long trade. And I would love to hear your opinions. Are you in a long trade? Are you not? Wait until I get that link for you and then sign up for 2Bit. Love to show you that. Very excited to show you some of our trades going on. I think that Bitcoin's about to go into a rally, and I'm betting on it, and I'm going long. Could be wrong. That's okay. You win some, you lose some, but I think it's pretty obvious that Bitcoin's about to go into a major rally, and I'm excited about it. All right, we're going to read some chat, and then we're going to wrap it out. When the goal is to accumulate as much Bitcoin as possible, the entry is key. Buying the top of anything is not smart. I say buying it in the first place is more important than where you buy it. If you're going to... And here's part of the reason. What is the traditional advice? The traditional advice that has made more millionaires than any other piece of advice in the history of the world. Take money out of your paycheck every week, every 2 weeks, every month. Buy the stock market. Don't look at the price. Just buy the stock market and forget about it. Just buy it. Forget about it for 30 years. People are trying to treat their investments like a trade. It's not a trade. It's an investment. There's a difference. Getting a good entry is important, but the more you fiddle with something, the more complicated it gets. It's this simple. If you believe in Bitcoin, buy Bitcoin and don't touch it for a decade. It's that simple. If it drops more, hopefully you have steady income, because if you don't have steady income and you've got anything less than like an 8-figure net worth and you are not an investor, you need a steady income until your investments really get off the ground. Then you can do the whole playing around with the investments thing. But if you have a steady income, which you need, buy the dip. Buy the dip. Keep 6 months of emergency fund. If you here's what I do. If I think that the market is massively overbought, it's so high, I just hold on to more cash. I just slow down on the investment. Still do it, but slow down a lot. Instead of 3 months of emergency funds, we have 6. Instead of nothing in a money market cash account, we store up some more. I like going into the dip with trades, with cash. I went into the last drop down to 73,000 with hundreds of thousands of dollars in cash. And I bought the crap out of Bitcoin. I bought so much Bitcoin. Very happy about it. I like going into the dip with cash. But we're not in the dip right now. We're about to break out. We already had the dip. It was down to 73. We haven't broken all-time high yet. If you adjust for inflation, 112 is basically the same thing as 109 6 months ago. It's basically a double top. We haven't broken out yet. As we go up to 120, 130, 140, 150, I'm not buying because we are going to see a drop. I'll buy some, but I'm not going to buy as fast. I'm going to stack cash. And if a drop comes, then we'll buy some more. So there you go. That's my biggest piece of wisdom I've got for you. Get in early. It's okay to worry about the price. It's okay to try and get a good entry, but don't worry so much about getting a good entry that you don't get an entry. That's the main point. All right. Last thing we're going to do. We're going to talk about small coins. We're going to make this quick. We're going for an hour. We're a little over. Let's talk about Ethereum. I think that's what the up there going the. Oh my goodness, computer, work with me here. There we go. Let's look at Ethereum. So, I'm sorry, I just can't delete all these charts. I've had these charts on here for years. Let's go to the other Ethereum chart. There we go. Here's what I'm seeing with Ethereum. I think that when Bitcoin goes through its major rally, Ethereum's probably going to do the same thing, come up here to $4,000, build a big inverse head and shoulders pattern, and then from that point in time, it'll use that inverse head and shoulders pattern going into the altcoin cycle to rally up probably to like $8,000. Even if we do this on the regular chart, which is probably more accurate, then you're looking at a rally of up to like $7,000. That's what I think is probably going to happen. I think you're probably going to end up building a big inverse head and shoulders pattern on ETH. So we hold ETH. I love Ethereum. It's a great protocol. A lot of development, a lot of things being built on Ethereum. So much of DeFi is built on Ethereum. It's incredible. A lot of the loan products are built on Ethereum. It is the OG decentralized application platform. And so I'm very happy with it. The main thing I want to talk with you about Ethereum is the fact that it's not dead, right? I mean, people are really bored with Ethereum. It's trading sideways. It's boring. We keep a small allocation of our portfolio in Ethereum. I am not such a fan of Ethereum that it's like 30, 40, 50% of my portfolio, but I do think that Ethereum is going to do well over the course of time. I don't think Ethereum is going to die. I don't think it's going anywhere. You can see a very consistent uptrend here, and I think its season is coming. I think you're going to see a very strong altcoin cycle later on in this cycle. I think that Bitcoin is going to go through a major rally up to like 125 to 150, and then from that point in time, then you're going to see a big altcoin season, and you're going to see Bitcoin do well, but then you're going to see the altcoins absolutely rip. I do think a $10,000 Ethereum is going to happen. The Ethereum ETFs, although they have not performed as well as the Bitcoin ETFs, are still some of the best performing ETFs in the history of the entire securities market. And so I do believe that Ethereum is going to perform extremely well. So stay tuned for that. That's the biggest takeaway I want to give you today is I like Ethereum. We hold some Ethereum. I'm kind of halfway a Bitcoin maxi. Most of our portfolios in Bitcoin, but I do have some Ethereum, and I am happy about that. And I am looking forward to seeing how that performs. So very happy about ETH. All right, I hope you guys did enjoy today's stream. If you did, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, stay tuned for more content. I'm still thinking about that trading group. Tell me what you guys think. Are you interested in a trading group where you get to hang out with me and our community at a lot more intimate setting? Would love to hear your opinions on that in the comments. We are going to have to wrap it out. I got to go work on today's video, and I've got a very special announcement coming up for you guys. Not sure when, but possibly as soon as this Friday. So stay tuned. Very excited to be here. Very excited to see where we're going to go next. Excited to be filling up this bookshelf. I'm working on like 3 different books right now. This one right here is the book I'm reading at the moment. The Miracle Morning by Hal Elrod. Not sponsored, but really enjoying this book. I think it's great. So I will tell you what I think after I finish reading it. I'm trying to have it done by about Sunday. So hopefully by next Monday I'll be done with that book, and I'll tell you what I think about it. So far, it's a really good book. Highly recommend it. Miracle Morning by Hal Elrod. Once again, not sponsored, but I'm enjoying it. Tell me what you think. We're going to wrap it out. Before we go, I love you. And I do just first want to thank each and every single last one of you for watching, as always. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.
Oh, I got a real good feeling.